This is Hot Mike.
Hot Mike.
On the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
Welcome back, everybody. Hour 2 on this Football Friday, ready to rock and roll. We're FCS playoff quarterfinals start tonight with Idaho and Montana State. That'll be chilly in Bozeman. And then tomorrow we got 3 games happening. We got the game in Fargo at 2:30 with North Dakota State and Mercer. And the other side of that, South Dakota State will welcome in Incarnate Word, 11 a.m. on ESPN. Little breakfast with the Jackrabbits for the second year in a row. They get the 11 a.m. time slot. It's our pleasure to welcome back to our show Ryan Olson, South Dakota State offensive coordinator, joins us on this Friday. You guys got used to doing the 11 a.m. kickoff now, huh?
Yeah, I don't mind it. Our normal kick time here on a conference game Saturday would be, I think, 2:00. So it's a little earlier than our typical, but we've had a couple now, so we're good with it.
You're a football coach. You're up early anyway, right? And you got a young family, so you're up early as it is, right?
We're up early. We're up late. When you got a toddler, you're kind of just up whenever they're up. So
that's exactly right.
We don't need a lot of sleep around here.
Well, I got to say, first off, congrats on the distinction. You were named one of the 35 under 35 Coaches Leadership Institute from the AFCA. I know that's got to mean a lot to you. Tell me what your emotional reaction when you found out you were named to that.
Yeah, it's a great honor. Obviously, the AFCA is our coaches association, our national organization. So anytime you're recognized by that group, it's pretty awesome. And then just, knowing some of the other names that have been on that list over the years, obviously a lot of great coaches from our league, but all over the country. So to kind of be in that fraternity is definitely an honor, and looking forward to going through that leadership program and all that stuff.
We talked last year when you got promoted. How do you felt like you've adjusted as the season's gone on to your job and now feel where you're at with running things?
Yeah, I think I've grown a lot. There's no way to simulate the game day experience as a play caller. You just kind of have to go through it and do it. And I've learned about myself. I think I've learned a lot about just our team as we've gone through the year. And, I feel like I've settled in a little bit, but that process never stops. There's always new challenges. And obviously, at this point in the year, we're playing some really great defenses. So it just the challenge grows a little bit more every week. But feel really good about where we're at, just as a collective group, as a coaching staff, and as a team. And yeah, it's been great.
I want to get to obviously you guys here in a second. The Bison are playing a team you saw last year in the playoffs. Anything stand out to you? I know it's your team's changed so much now from year to year. From that Mercer team that you saw last year in Brookings that we should be on the lookout for tomorrow?
I don't know. I know they had a head coaching change.
Yep.
I really don't know if their staff has changed at all on the defensive side of the ball. But I do know, when we played them here last year, getting ready for that game, I thought they were stout up front. I thought they had a really talented front seven. I know, I think Iden, the Mike linebacker, he's played a lot of football for them. He's a talented player. They had some really, really good safeties who I think have graduated, but I'm sure they've recruited well. So, yeah, just a stout, really sound defensive unit, not real flashy, not doing a lot of crazy stuff, just really, really sound. Everybody's typically in the right spot. So they're a good football team.
I guess the exact word when I tell you there are 3 Valley teams of the final 8 left, your word would be what?
Yeah, that's Valley football, man. That's I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. And we played the other 2, and we know they're really, really good. So we're not surprised at all.
The road for you guys, go back to this past week facing Montana. And again, going back to how much rosters changed, did you look at all at your game prep for the national championship for this past weekend's game?
I think we've been lucky that I think both times we played them, we've had a lot of extra time to get ready for them, because that defense is complex. It's really exotic. It's not what you see every day. It's not what we play in our league, really.
No.
So to have the national championship prep, obviously you get extra time for that game. And then we had the first round bye, and not that we didn't think it was possible that Tennessee State would win, but as a coach, you kind of hedge your bet a little bit. And we felt like Montana playing at home had a great shot. So it was great to have the extra time to kind of get some extra prep. And yeah, you definitely go back, you look at your notes, and then you kind of compare your pregame and postgame notes and like, okay, what did we think would happen and how did that work opposed to how did they defend us? And then, yeah, you make adjustments based on that and put your best foot forward. So definitely took it all into consideration.
It's no new news that you're playing a team that you played already during the regular season. You've done that before in the playoffs, but it's the first time you're playing a non-conference team the second time around. So how much do you look back at September from that game against Incarnate Word to get you ready for what's coming on Saturday?
Yeah, it's definitely part of the process of getting ready for it. But I think one thing you got to keep in mind, I think if we look at ourselves, we would say that we've evolved a lot and we've grown a lot. And obviously we've had some injuries and we've had some guys come back to help that were injured. And so maybe feel like we're a little different than we were week 2. And I'm sure that they look at themselves the same way and say, man, we're playing a lot better, or we've grown a lot, or some of our younger players that played in that game have developed to the point where they feel like they're a different football team. And so week 2 feels like it was probably a year ago at this point. So you're certainly looking at that tape. You're certainly making some adjustments and trying to plan the best course of action. But at the same time, it's what are we good at right now? What are they doing right now? And it's a balancing act to a degree, but we know that the result from September is really not gonna dictate anything on Saturday. They're a good team, and obviously they played great on defense last week against Villanova, who's typically a pretty talented offense. So we'll have our hands full.
I was interested, just to say that, like, how when you watch the Incarnate Word tape, is it like night and day for you looking at yourself and looking at your offense from when you played in that game to how you're playing right now?
Yeah, I think in every aspect too, not just me or not just the kids, just collectively and holistically. And like, okay, there might be some stuff on there that's a little different than maybe the way we would attack it at this point in time, or maybe we feel like certain individuals are better at certain techniques or understand certain concepts better than they did at that moment in time. So yeah, you look back and maybe you notice some things that you feel like you do better now, or maybe you don't even do anymore at all. But that's just the evolution of a season. And again, I'm sure they're probably doing the same thing to a degree. So.
And so I was going to ask you about the changes, Ryan, since the changes, I'll put in quotation marks, since the Bison game here, because personally, I think you guys are the quietest team out there that's just decimating teams. I think you guys have played, and I'm not saying that because you're on it. I've said this over the last 2 months since that game in Fargo. What has changed? What has clicked since the game up here in Fargo?
Honestly, this is going to be a boring answer, but this is the God's honest truth. We've practiced so much better since that game. I might even say we haven't had a bad practice since that game, in my estimation, offensively. So I think anytime you lose a conference game, I think anytime you'll come up short against your rival or a great opponent, if you got the right mental makeup, if your team's made of the right stuff, there should be a response. And I think we've had that. Now the challenge is, how long can we sustain that? How long can we just continue day after day after day to just live in the moment and give it our best in that one snap, that one rep, that one practice, and just continue to, like, inch by inch, do it one day at a time. You cannot get ahead of yourself right now. Every team you're playing is so good. If you don't play your best, you can lose. So I would say that's probably the biggest thing.
Okay.
Not to get into specifics or schematics or anything like that, just the level of focus on a daily basis, I think, changed after that day.
You also have a few freshmen, and I mean freshmen, that are out here contributing. Is that something that even surprised you, or in fall camp said, these guys could help us? Maybe not right away, but down the road, that they could help us as this season goes along?
Yeah, I think, when you and I talked before the season, we talked about the youth and how many young players we were excited about. And I think that it's just the natural course of development throughout a year. And the more you play, the better you get at playing the game. And it's really hard to simulate those reps in practice that at the same speed and intensity that they are on Saturdays. So on one hand, I'm I'm really excited to see some of
I
these younger
bet.
guys, playing at a really high level. I don't want to say I'm surprised. I'm just excited, and it's what we hoped for. It's what we hoped for when the season started, with that these more inexperienced guys would really grow into these roles and develop confidence, and I think we're on that track. So
This might be a Captain Obvious question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Playoff experience, how much does that help? You have a ton. Guys have played a lot of football. You rely on that this time of year to get ready for your game against the Word.
yeah, I think it goes back to your leaders. It goes back to Mark Gronowski and Adam Bach and those other guys that have played in some really really competitive games, and um, leading through those tough moments. We've certainly been in some big ones over those guys' careers, and there's been times where we've been down, and there's been times where we've been in some dogfights, and so I think in those times you lean on those guys to lead the rest of the group forward, and keep them calm and keep the focus where it needs to be.
As a former offensive lineman, where this time of year, were you, I think I know the answer. Did you ever wear sleeves, or no? Did you go sleeveless when this time of year, because you guys were always playing in December at Whitewater?
I don't really remember, honestly. I mean, if I'm guessing we probably didn't wear sleeves too often. These guys here, they don't.
Yeah.
They don't. You'll be ousted, and that's not even me. That's just the group. That predates my time. So yeah, I don't know. It's kind of, I guess it's a pride thing. Whatever. We were out yesterday or on Wednesday.
Yeah.
We went for about an hour, and I think it was like -5 here or something. And you could bet there was not a sleeve to be seen from the old lineman.
How are you doing on that during practice?
I look like I'm ice fishing. That's what I look like. I'm bundled up. I'm not trying to be a tough guy out there.
Oh man, hey, you're playing football now, right? What would you rather be doing?
What you're here for?
The alternative stinks, right?
No, quite better to be cold and playing than warm and not.
No doubt. Lastly, before I let you go, this time of year, you got through signing day. Portal is open. As a coach right now, and you're getting ready for a game. How much you got your eyes obviously fixate on the game, but also you got to pay attention what else is happening around the program.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts. I mean, obviously we had signing day a couple weeks ago. That's you're wrapping up your high school recruiting, and then the portal opens, and then you're kind of looking at your own roster and what maybe you got to be ready to do. And I'd say the worst thing though is looking at your own players and trying to make sure that you can retain all those pieces of your roster, because this isn't breaking news, but there's some programs out there that want some of our guys, and I speak collectively. Probably all 8 teams that are still playing are like looking over their shoulder and trying to keep tabs on their own kids. And that's the nature of the sport right now. And part of it sucks, but it's the reality. I'm not going to change it. So we just got to keep winning, man. And the more we can keep winning, keep these kids playing, and that's good for us.
Now, I can ask you about a couple of your recruits now that they're signed. Lincoln Savchenko was wanted by everybody in your backyard. Describe getting him and what kind. I mean, he's a huge, huge kid of getting him to sign in Brookings.
Yeah, he's one of those kids that we've been following for a long time. He's Zach Hines' cousin, so there's actually a relationship there.
Nice.
That Lincoln's been to probably as many South Dakota State football games as I have, if not more. So he kind of grew up a Jackrabbit. I know his dad played, up north. But Lincoln's been watching his cousin play tight end here for a long time. So he's always kind of been in the fold and around. So that kind of gave us a head start, getting to kind of develop that relationship early, and then seeing him develop through high school and really turn into a really great high school football player here in the state. And it's exciting when you can add a talent like that from just down the road.
And then JB Walters, Ryan, out of Grand Forks, North Dakota. I know there's a connection with Danny. What kind of prospect can he be at the next level?
Yeah, I think JB's a really good-looking inside player. Could potentially play center, probably start him out at guard. And I think there's a lot of weight we can add to that frame. He's a really gifted athlete. He's very coordinated. He's got great body control. We just got to fill him out. And really extremely intelligent kid. I think he's like low, mid-30s ACT type of guy. So it's always good to have as many of those in your room as you can, and just a super family, and excited for his future. Yeah.
Great to see you, bud. I always appreciate the time. Thanks so much for doing this. Good luck against Incarnate Word, and we'll talk soon, all right?
Appreciate it. Thanks, Tom.
Ryan Olson, offensive coordinator at South Dakota State. Jackrabbits and the Word coming up Saturday. They have the first game, 11 a.m. on ESPN to get Super Saturday started for the FCS playoffs. We'll take a break. Hot Mic rolls on after this on WDAY Extra, KSFL TV, and Inforum.com. We'll be right back.